Welcome, everybody, to the Ravens Outpost. And this is the Ravens Eye. All right. Hello, everybody. How's it going tonight? I'd like to introduce special guest, Mr. Jon Buckley. How you doing tonight, man?
I am doing just fine.
Great. It's a late night show. We've got one in here already. Rick, formerly known as the Purple Hobbit. Eric, how you doing, brother? I'll make some noise. Don't pay no attention to it. It's just my mess. There we go. See, that gets rid of the chat. Don't want to do that. There we go. Keep it in there. There we go. They're already showing up, pal.
Hey, how's it going, man? Good to see. I mean, it's good to see people already coming in. Very cool. Very cool.
Yes. And this is how it happened last time.
And then it just snowballs from there.
Yeah. What happened was Paranormal Portal was on, and I was on. Everybody else was watching Paranormal Portal, and I'm talking to dead air. So, Jon, won't you tell folks a little bit about yourself?
Oh man, an intro for me. It's hard to put into words.
Are you a paranormal investigator? You're a paranormal enthusiast?
I would say a researcher and an enthusiast. I mean, investigation. I've gone to places, kind of for my own, I guess, just curiosity and desire to. I've gone LBL. Trying to think, just most a lot of places in my own city here in Louisville, Kentucky, too. But Daniel Boone, I've gone there. It wasn't really for investigation. Just you hear stories and such, and I kind of seek out the places where I've heard stories and people have experienced stuff because I'm like, well, hey, I want to go there and see if there's anything. I want to go check it out, and I don't know. It's kind of a challenge to myself, like a little bit too, about because when I first started experiencing things as a child, and then in my early 20s, two big incidents. It really scared me. It terrified me at first. Like I remember doing research as being blown away. Like I just scared, genuinely.
Right.
And so getting older now, I just more, excuse me, fascinated by it and want to know all I can. I find it fun and enjoyable. Even given the weird things and scary things I've seen, I still have a deep curiosity for all of it. It might get me in trouble one day. I don't know. We'll see. Probably not. I mean, if I do, I'm not going to get anywhere very far. So it'll chase me down in a good 45 seconds.
Do you take any equipment with you, or you just take yourself and your instincts?
Mostly just take myself. I'll take pictures. From time to time. Funny enough, like I've mentioned to you, my girlfriend, the spiritualist medium, she's kind of a good beacon to go off of, with things too. Like, because I haven't always told her about some of the places we've gone, and I wanted to kind of see how she would, go in cold in a way. And, it's never anything like what people think, like it's a big sensational thing. It's kind of just little bits and pieces she'll pick up about certain things, and it's just kind of like something I already know about the place or something. I'm like, something's kind of weird there, because I go in with a very, open mind about things, but still very skeptical, very logic driven. I like to look at, kind of apply some of the scientific principles, like, correlations, not causation, and extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. So I like to always go in with very, the skeptic kind of approach to it. I guess logic more so is probably a better way, because I just still believe there's things, but we have. I feel that I like to take a more careful approach and not jump to what it could be versus what it is. Now, having
Right.
said that, there's things definitely I've experienced, and others more so, others really, that I believe they experienced something that will. I don't know if there's logic to it that we know of anyway. So, you know, but yeah, I mean, I like to just stay open about it. But as far as, I guess, I digress. The going out in any kind of stuff, equipment, I mostly just, go off. It's going to sound dumb, but kind of a sense of adventure sometimes. I like to just go and see what might be here and there. I might take photos sometimes, but um, a lot of what's happened to me has always just found me when I least expected it and when I just didn't. So,
Right. Right.
and yeah.
So, so the experience with you looking at it through a scientific point of view, but
You know,
and your girlfriend being a medium gives you that spiritual
yeah, it's,
point of view. So you've got a. It sounds to me like you got a pretty good balance going there.
yeah, I think you have to have not two forces of opposition so much, but two
Right.
different points. Like if you want to get from A to, or if you want to get to C, you have to have, to me, A and B. You can't skip one or the other and say you got to the destination. No, you didn't. You have to have other points of view, other kind of tools, and so, and it's caused a little bit of, like I said, told you, sometimes we butt heads on it, and she like, you don't believe me, and it's like, no, it's not that. It's that, to keep us honest and keep us, driving toward truth, the truth of the matters. We have to have the other, keep accountability for, you know anybody kind of getting ahead of themselves. She's done that for me even too sometimes, because again, she has a lot of different interests than I've gotten into with this kind of stuff. But I've started to tell her things. But it's just it's interesting. It makes for an interesting dynamic, I will say. So um, yeah. Far as, I mean, how I try to look at it, yeah, through the scientific lens, and again apply some of those principles to it, so that, you know it's not so much to disprove people. It's actually, let's lend some credibility to it.
Right.
Let's get others to say, well, there's certain things here that we cannot discount, because you have done the due diligence to it, and you're not just jumping to conclusions. So that's kind of, I guess, yeah, I try to do that as much as I can, and with the background of research, study, and just, I guess, overall weird amalgamation, or whatever you want to say, of life experiences I've had. So
It's kind of hard when you're doing it by yourself, and you've had actual experiences by yourself.
yeah,
Um, and you've got that sensitivity. Sometimes you can't always trust that sensitivity when you're looking through a scientific lens,
yeah.
and having somebody else along who has that sensitivity to offset what you're trying to do. Yeah, it sounds to me like it would help a bunch. Uh,
It does, and I think, like I said, it helps both ways. We both kind of, you know, I'm a little less hard to, I guess, make uneasy, and
Right.
so I guess the more kind of frightful elements don't bother me, and I can usually explain them away. Whereas sometimes she's like, "What was that? What was that?" And like, so I'm like, "It's probably nothing." I said, "You know, you can probably disprove it, but if you can't, we're gonna have to get the hell out of here real quick." So, and we've done that on one occasion actually. So, um, no, two. And one of them I did disprove, and it was embarrassing because it was me that jumped the gun. I don't know if I ever told you this. It's kind of good. We went to a cemetery.
Tell it.
Okay. So the one that I disproved, I did it because I had to. And I was a little too excitable, I think. Because it happened not far after, or not long after this. The first one that we actually think there was something to it. But this one, yeah, we went to a cemetery. It's an abandoned cemetery out here, not far from her, where we're at. And I don't want to say about 3 miles, maybe, give or take. But we go through there at night because, you know, we kind of always like to go through at night. It's abandoned. Like I said, it's overgrown and all that stuff. It's one of the oldest. It is the oldest in the city, I believe. But these graves date back to like the early 1800s. We even seen a couple with 17 on there, like still, you know, kind of embossed on the headstones. But we went through there one night late, and she's driving. I'm looking out the window, flashlight, and my light hit something reflective, and I'm like, oh, was some eyes reflected. I'm like, I'm like, oh my God, those are eyes. I was like, what the hell is that though? What is in here? What's that big or whatever? Started running away with it. So, you know, end up, I'm kind of like, get too excitable. She's like, well, what did you know, all this stuff. And so I said, just, I don't know, pass back through. And so, you know, we end up going through, making the rounds, coming back out. And I'm still like, something's going on. End up going back though. And oh, did we drop out? Or did I? Are you still in with it?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if it, yeah.
Yeah, I give the floor to you. I get the, here you go.
Okay. Oh, I got you. See, man, I would think I'm better with technology. I'm really not half the time, but you know, it's aging gracefully. But
trust me, I'm not either. You take a look at that intro. I flubbed that.
But, okay, good. We're on even ground then.
Right.
It was kind of like that though, because we go back, and even though this place is abandoned, I'm looking in the same area. It's a damn solar light. It's a damn solar light that is under a tree that doesn't hold a charge, but at the angle I was at and coming out and into the drive, whatever, the little pathway there, it looks like a pair of eyes if you do it just right. Because I recreated and I said, oh shit. I was like, oh my God. I was like, well, I was wrong. And I thought we found some cool, you know, creature roaming through this, you know, cemetery, you know, digging up corpse or whatever you want to, you know, all that kind of crazy stuff. No, it's just a disused solar light. So, you know, it's those kind of things that, like, you have to admit, you know, it's like, oh, I jumped the gun. I messed up. I got excited. But, you know, it's off the heels of going through another area, which we weren't even looking for anything, funny enough, showing me a park at night because we were driving around and she said, let me show you Echo Park. And it's a trail that kind of goes into the woods. And I said, that's cool. Let's drive through it. And we drove through that and stuff, but we got on a patch of road. And it's not a real rural road, but it's off the way a little bit. And coming along that, this stench, man, it hits. And I've called it was November 2019, and I've always referred to it as dry death. Because I know what roadkill smells like. And I grew up in a wooded area, you know, woodland acres around us, you know, with a road. Animals got killed on or just died out in the woods. It's got that sick, kind of sweet smell to it sometimes, especially when it's been out in the sun, which unseasonably warm November day too. It wasn't that. This thing is this whatever the scent was hit, and it hit hard, and it was unnatural. It didn't feel, and that's about before one of the few times in the last 10 years I've been unnerved because it smelled like a mixture of wet animal urine, but like decay, death, but like not I don't know how it just didn't have the full weight of it. And so I I just remember that, and I also recall a skunk went off about probably 60 feet away from where we kind of hit that scent because we kept driving through. Because I told her, I said, just drive. I said, don't slow down too much. I said, don't feel comfortable. Keep going, please. And here, skunk goes off. Okay, that's fine. So, long story short, we come back through. I told her, I said, go ahead and show me the place, but drive through this very same area about on the way back. I'd say about 45 minutes time. We come back through there. That scent, that dry, just unnat, whatever it was, it's gone completely. No trace, nothing. But that skunk still wafted on the air, real faint. Still a little bit of it. You still could tell the skunk had sprayed through there. But whatever that other thing was, it's gone. And a scent that powerful and that almost persistent, it's just it should not have. It should have still been there, and it wasn't.
Right.
But the skunk is. It's like, what the hell, man? And that just, I guess it could have been something maybe dead off into the woodland area because it was surrounded. This little patches, nothing but woods on both sides. But I went back the next day, and I never told her. I went back without her. About 5 p.m. Kind of went through that area. I didn't pick up any kind of scent like that again. Couldn't find nothing on the side of roads even. I mean, and I guess if I went by myself, I might have went into the woodlands a little bit. And a lot of it's private property. And in this city, you got to watch that alone. I just didn't feel comfortable going in them though. Absolutely not. I'm not going to mince words. I didn't feel comfortable. I felt like I would get very afraid.
Right.
And of what I might find in there, or what might, I don't know. I just didn't want to. But I mean, there was no scent of that, and I drove up and down that road probably 4 or 5 times, back and forth to see if I could pick up any kind of scent. And winds were not blowing or anything. I went back and checked both days. I believe I looked back on the weather forecast. They were under definitely 10 miles an hour. I can't remember which direction though, but I just know that they weren't blowing at all, especially at night. So it's just really that's the one that, again, I tried to think about and really whatever. And if somebody has an explanation or somebody can really tell me something, I'm open to hear it. But it's one of those that's kind of filed away under the weird unknown. I can't figure it out. And I'm not, again, all knowing by any means. So just because I don't know doesn't mean somebody else doesn't. Again, I'd be open to hearing it. But man, it was just, I think it's that instant kind of fight or flight where your adrenaline kicks in. I've had that only a few times in my life with stuff like this, and it's immediate. And, it's just something about, I think it's a deep rooted instinct in us that senses something like an imminent threat or a possible danger, and we just get that reaction. So, and I got that night. So that's one of them. It's harder to explain. But then I've got the other one where it's a solar light flashing out. I hit with my flashlight at the right angle. So you kind of have to go with, being wrong and looking kind of like a fool in order to, I think sometimes lend validity to it that you're doing your due diligence and you're saying, hey, I was dead wrong on this one, embarrassingly so. But like, I don't know about this other one at least. And so that's just, I mean, my method, I guess, of looking at stuff.
Well, yeah, Bigfoot enthusiasts, I guarantee you, would sit back and say, well, that was a Bigfoot or Sasquatch or whatever you want to call it. Because of the smell.
It was,
but
God damn, it was ungodly. It is the worst. Damn.
The fact of the matter is that you yourself didn't. You said you didn't know. You didn't know what it was, and it's hard to put a label on it when you just really don't have that type of confirmation. when there's
Yeah.
nothing around. It was there and then it was gone.
Yeah. That's,
Um,
yeah. Yeah.
but you know, all of the all myself personally, all the interactions I've ever had with the forest folk,
Yeah.
I've never smelt anything.
Yeah.
Never once. And I've had them all around me twice, and I've never smelt a thing.
And that's, man, that's so weird. It's like, what, then what in the hell? And that's what's weird. It's weird you say, I didn't get, I can't peg exactly what I think that is. I didn't go to that though, Bigfoot. I don't know why, but I don't know. I don't know what I went to. It's just, it, it reminded me of some, just, I don't know. I guess my look on, or my view on Bigfoot might be a little different than everybody else's. I think more like when the forest folk, like how, how you say, they're a little bit more in tune with the earth, and
Yeah,
having your experiences, you've had definitely more in that realm than I have. So with you not smelling anything, it kind of tells me something too. I mean, it, it just it didn't feel, I guess, as friendly as even what they can be. And I'm not, I guess, saying, oh yeah, they're friendly, they're Jolly Green Giant, like go right up to them and make a commercial, you'll be fine. I'm saying like this thing felt a little different,
right.
not soup, like not of the earth or whatever you want to. It just felt different. I didn't feel like it belonged. Is kind of how I got the gist of it. And that's why that kind of adrenaline kick kicks in, because you're like, something doesn't belong or I don't belong, but all I can do is control me and get me out of here. So that's what we did.
I don't, I'm not meaning to lead the conversation, or anything like that. But it's interesting you say that you know, you felt that it didn't belong,
Yeah.
and you and I've talked in depth before about certain things. Some people
Yeah.
would call this the woo. Okay, the woo woo, the mystical portal jump in
Oh,
type of phenomena.
gotcha. Yes.
Well, okay,
Yes.
here's what I call physics. It's the different type. The
Yeah.
uh, when we're talking about parallel dimensions, we're talking about uh, how you sometimes when all right, let's go to, let's say, a demonic encounter. What do people associate with demonic encounters as far as smells?
So sulfur,
That's the sulfur,
rotten eggs.
or
That's
rotten eggs,
yeah,
or
yeah,
or a dead smell. You
yeah,
know, there are people out there who study quantum physics, who believe that there is a resi- I'll get it right in a minute. Hold on, a residue
yes, yeah,
when a portal is open, because it's a tear, it's a rip, it's something.
yes,
It's because once, and how it was explained to me
mhm,
is when something passes through this rift,
yeah.
it automatically starts to decay. There's a
Interesting.
instant type of decay process, and that's what you smell, and that's why it's so instant. That's why it's there, and then it lingers for a little while, and then it's gone. But that's just a theory, and that's quantum
Yeah,
physics.
that gets into all of that with the fringe sciences. I kind of like to
Right.
just again, that's quantum mechanics, quantum physics. That's some things I know very baseline about, and I'm not going to
Yeah,
pretend that I
me
can
too.
get but I wrap my head around enough of it to understand what you're talking about and what this could mean. Because again, these are also, when you say fringe science, it's science that they haven't yet fully proven, but they do have in place theories and such that say it's a probability.
Right.
And so it's complicated, but the train of thought, it's interdimensionality. um, the crossing of two planes, like just kind of almost like two bubbles, you know, rotating around each other over time or whatever you want to call it, just kind of like our planet
Right.
or our planets. And with these rotations, though, maybe they're not as fixed. And so these two bubbles, if you will, like I said, this is just an example, are permeable, like our plane of existence against another one. They're permeable and can sometimes cross, come across each other, but just
Right.
briefly. And so that could be a possibility there about what these things are, because it is, the big thing I see is, everybody's in one camp or another. It's either it's biological or it's an interdimensional spiritual kind of being, and that could be to do with like even some of the things I've read about the Fae, and that's a whole other thing, but like
Right.
what that could somehow be tied to that. But it's just kind of studying biology currently, which I'm not even want to talk about, I guess, because but like just studying that and studying ecology a little bit, in the courses I've taken, I look at it like if it's biological, it's well hidden, and it has it's a type of biological entity that is a little bit. Everyone always thinks it might be further down the line of evolution than us or something like that, but it might actually be in a way more advanced than us, because that's the only way I can see something this large existing within an ecosystem and not just devastating that ecosystem of its resource, like just deplenishing it of all its resources.
Right.
Because gray wolves have to consume, I think, 20 pounds of meat a day to sustain, or they can do that. So you want to quantify that, whatever, by a 9 to 12 foot tall hominid that could weigh, it's a minimum of probably 8 to 1,500 pounds, depending. That's going to just tear an ecosystem apart. It's going to tear
Exactly.
that environment a new one. So they're either extremely well hidden, or there are just certain things on a biological scale, physiological scale, we honestly don't know, and they exist kind of differently than we have thought and theorized all this time. That's why I guess if I'm in anything, I kind of lend more to the interdimensionality, just because of all my experiences. Nothing, even when I was younger, could the two I've had of creatures I've seen. I don't know how it could exist in that environment biologically and not have injured it severely, killed it, or it killed them. It's
Right.
just that it would come into contact with humans far too frequent.
Mhm.
Probably against its own machinations. So these things, though, that's the thing. It still, the two instances I've ever had with this, I guess, in my life, it's felt wrong. Like it's something that didn't mean to be seen, didn't want to, or had even go the very real intent to be seen. Like, I know you can see me, but no one will ever believe you. It's almost like a sowing the seeds of dissent, almost like to make people crazy, like feel like they're crazy when they know what they've seen. But I just, I guess, to be honest, I just don't know, though. Again, both could be possibilities, and I remain open to both. You have to. I mean, it's
Right.
kind of not fair to one side to say, hey, you're what you believe in, this is totally wrong, and I don't subscribe to it, and this is why you're wrong. And it's like, no, these are just my ideas and theories. That's it.
Right.
I can go either way. Someone shows me something or tells me, I'm like, yeah, you know what, you might be right. I agree.
That's all we're basing everything on. We've got an embarrassing amount of evidence out here for the existence of these creatures. Okay. But here is the thing: most of everything we know about these creatures, and as far as habitat and what have you, and their day to day life, what they do, is all theory, because we don't know. Um, I've said this in a few videos before, and it's like you say, it's common sense. there's no way that a creature weighing uh, uh, as much as it does, being as
Yeah.
tall as it does, being as many of them together as they are, there's no way that they're going to be able to survive here without tearing up the ecosystem.
And
There's
that's
no way.
another good point that just got me. Yeah, you got me on another one of that. Um, that's another thing. The genetic variation that would have to they would have to. So these species would have to have a modicum even of genetic variation within themselves. So if there's only a set, how many they're going to be interbreeding, and that's going to lead to a lot of problems for them,
Right.
down the line, and possibly cause their extinction without even meaning. I mean, there's a lot of variables that go into that, but that's just one such problem that could arise as well. And you saying that reminded me of that one too, because it's like, yeah, these things would, these creatures would need to have a decent genetic pull to pull from, and and in order to have their numbers remain consistent, whatever you want to call it, and thus again, that's another thing that runs into a roadblock there. And that, again, this isn't to point out like how I think whatever. It's more to say these are the roadblocks that anyone is going to put in front of someone saying these things are like, these are just the roadblocks.
Right.
Same as like on the other side, there's going to be some that they put it like that's not possible. We don't know about these kind of stuff, and that's what I'm saying. I'm prepared to say, yeah, you're right. I guess that but also you haven't proven that they don't exist. So it's like we can both kind of stay open minded on every side of this because it's not black and white. It's shades of gray, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, I mean, we don't know. Just like you brought up camouflage in your video. I mean, man, that's a great point. Actually, I was happy to see you brought up because I didn't even really consider that until I saw you, and I was like, oh shit, oh my god, that's a good point too. Damn. So it's like that's why I say there might be certain aspects of these things that exist that we have no idea about, and that could be that's a really good one actually. That's why it's important for everybody to bring what they know and the theories and such to the table because again, that's something I didn't think about, and I'm like, oh yeah, they got to consider that. So you know, good.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the whole reason why I took this channel in the direction I'm taking it in. I said before I wanted to try and pull um, everyone together.
Yeah,
The the ufologists and the ghost hunters, demonologists, and the cryptozoologists, cryptid hunters, whatever you want,
yeah,
whatever they call themselves, whoever's in the Bigfoot community,
yeah,
and we need to all start comparing notes
exactly. Yeah,
because it's my personal feeling that what we're lacking in one area, somebody else may be able to fill in the gaps.
exactly. Yeah,
You and I were talking earlier, um, off camera there about the uh, about Stan Gordon,
mm,
and how in the late '60s, early to mid '70s, there's this big surge in UFO activity, and some of this UFO activity coincided with um, Sasquatch sightings
yes.
and paranormal activity, such as poltergeist activity. And if you want to hear his rendition or his story about this, I mean, anybody can go on to Sasquatch Chronicles and find that episode because he's on there. Wes does a fantastic job interviewing him, and he tells his story great. But it raised a lot of flags to me. It's like maybe my theory is correct, maybe, but I could be so far off base. I mean, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
and that's the thing. Like, yeah, with all my stuff, I think that too. Like, and that's what keeps. I think, you know, that's the hope I have, and that's where I see a positive influence on myself and even to the outside world is that kind of mentality
Right.
where you're prepared to be wrong because it's and that's a it's a an act of I mean not so, selfless is the only thing I think of because I'm not trying to paint myself as a martyr nor you or some kind of whatever. It's more just like we put aside. It's like there's no ego to it. I don't care if I'm wrong. I've been wrong a whole lot in this life about a lot of actual personal choices, I guess. And so if this is one of them, it's like, oh well, shit, put it put it in the stack. John was wrong again. No way. I can't believe it. Like, whoa. So but that's the thing. It's not inherently or it's not failure though to be wrong. People look at it like if you're wrong, you lose your credibility, you lose validity, you're a fail. No, 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 no. That's not how it is. That just you have value beyond that. It's
Right.
That's why I look at it like everyone's a researcher. You're not so much you're researching the unknown, and you can pull resources. I mean, and so it's not about being wrong. It's just or like if you are wrong, it's like you're just cast aside and there's no use. No, no, you know how to research, you know how to read, you know how to write, you know how to speak, you know how to look for things, you know what kind of things to look for. All there's people have a lot more value, in admitting they're wrong and seeing what their mistakes are than sticking to something and never wavering because then it's just where do you go from there then? So you're right, and it was never up for debate then. So again, just because I mean this could all be invalidated, everything I believe on this, all this could be invalidated. I would say, oh man, damn, that sucks. I was kind of hoping some of this cool shit would be out there, but that doesn't invalidate that I know how to do all these things still, and I'm still of value, and I can just switch my mindset to go, okay, cool. Well, then there's other weird stuff though, and if I want to help out with that or to engage in that, I'm going to take the same value to whatever I did. There's validity in work that people do no matter what it is, if it's good work and you're willing to work with others well. So no shame. Who cares if you're wrong?
Exactly.
I mean,
I don't know if you remember a video I did here quite a while back. It was calling about the armchair quarterbacks.
I'm sorry.
The armchair
Oh
quarterbacks,
yeah.
the armchair researchers. And I'm usually finding that the people who stay in the camp of I will not waver from this, and I trust so and such in their theories, are the people who don't get out there and don't stick their toe in the water to find out for themselves if it's cold or not. You know, and usually those are the people who are bashing people like you and me who have different opinions.
Yeah, I mean, people can bash me all you want. I mean, I've been bullied several times in my life. I've grown to like it almost. So I mean, they can continue to go for it. But like, I mean, that's the thing. Like, call me wrong. I mean, again, I have like I said earlier to you, I have a sense of humor about myself. I'm not going to sit and argue with you. I don't feud people. If someone has I'll just sit there and laugh and go, okay. Go on, and I'll just run you in circles because that's how I find that just as entertaining. So, I mean, I'm not going to feud with anyone though. I'm just going to have fun with it and then drop it. Or, like you said, I'm not going to engage at all because I've got other things to do and fight people. I don't want to do that. It's senseless. I mean, we still don't, again, we don't have any, I don't know that we have any real hard facts to lean against on a lot of this. We have a lot of things, theories and things we've seen, and we have to be careful with that. Is just the thing. Like if anybody leans too heavily on it, I mean, it might be what is it? Oh God, I guess a house of cards is the best way to put it. It's gonna topple over, and you just have to be careful with that. And that's why, I mean, anyone can believe whatever they want to. It's cool. I mean, like I said, if you look at people objectively and you try to always find merit, which I think you should, there's always a potential for it. You can't discount anyone until they've given you every reason to, or they've given you a good single reason to, I guess. But there's always, just because you don't agree with someone or you don't, whatever, doesn't mean there's not merit to what they're saying. If they're, you know, getting their point across in a, I guess, non, lack of a better term, asshole way, lack of a better term. Um, so that's what I think a lot of people, we all should try to do. I mean, just be humble and have humility about it. Like, who cares? It'll be okay.
Absolutely.
We can probably,
And
probably end up liking each other. Hell, man, some of the best friends in my life. I hated their guts. My first wife, I hated her when I first met her, and she hated me. And then we were inseparable for years. So it's like, I mean, it's funny how that works out in life. That's one of the few things that I've noticed, though. It's like, yeah, some of the people hell, the girlfriend I have now, I mean, me and her, like, go at it and fight, and it's funny. It's like our differences. It's like, it's almost like, I don't know. It's like, I guess sometimes, relationships just in general, no matter friend, sometimes we're like little kids with that square peg in a round hole, just jamming that, going, it will fit. I know it will. And it's just until you figure out how to put the puzzle together, then you're like, oh, okay. Well, hell, we're fine. It's okay.
right.
So, and that can be true in any facet. That's why I think everybody, you gotta just remain open minded to them and give them a shot. Like, I mean, it'd just be a damn waste to throw someone's idea away because you didn't care for, something else about them. So,
Exactly. Now, a few years back, when I first started looking into the Sasquatch Bigfoot phenomena, and I was doing most of my armchair quarterbacking at home, my research over the interwebs. I run across on, and you can find it on Amazon Prime. It's called The Unwanted Sasquatch. And they talk, they have a couple of segments in there that was they're throwback films from the mid to late 80s, early 90s. And they're talking to a group of people who have had experiences with these people, these creatures. And one of these, and this is my state of mind back then. One of these guys stood up and said they create portals and they teleport and they turn invisible and this, that, and the third. And in my mind, I was looking at this guy. This guy's a nutbag. And you could see the look of people around him who when he said this, some of them were like, rolled their eyes, and I felt the same. But after years of listening, and I'll tell you where most of my knowledge has come from, besides getting out in the field and actually experiencing myself, and that's listening to eyewitness testimony.
Yeah.
I mean, I've went through and I've heard hundreds of eyewitness testimonies, and I've put one against another. I'll hear one that I've heard. I said, wait a minute, what episode did I hear that same account from? And I'd go back and listen to it, and I'm like, I'll be damned, huh? But there's so many out there that talk about the portals. There's so many that talk about the smell. Now I'm going to tell you something that I can't quite wrap my head around. I was looking through some of my video archives, and on the one where I found the 16-inch track. Okay. From toe to heel, it's at least 16 inches long. It might have been if it was actually flat. In a way, you could tell there was a hump where claim that these creatures have a mid-tarsal break.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I could see that. I said, okay, I can buy into that because you could see where the heel dug
Yeah.
into the earth and the toes were in front of it. It dug into the earth, but it was more like that, right?
See,
Like, like it
yeah,
was getting ready to take off. But here's the
that's
thing.
wild.
It left an impression. At the time, I weighed 275 pounds, and I could not make an impression in the earth right next to it. How heavy had that thing had to be? I would say probably what, 900 pounds, 1,000 pounds.
I'd say easiest, probably, I would say almost 3 to 4 times what you know at the time. I mean, good God, man, I'd say at least 1,000 though. Yeah, I mean that's what's with what you're describing, that mid-tarsal. That's what's that's the kind of stuff that lends validity and
Right,
kind of it shows that I'm looking for this and this and this. But yeah,
right,
it's like, I mean, and I'm estimating at the weight too. That's where even I would like to get someone to say, hey, I know a little bit more about impact and whatever this part of it, whatever you would call this. I don't even want to try to label it what this kind of study would be.
right,
Just, I guess I would want someone that knows more about the anatomy of certain, existing creatures, and put that up against that and say, yeah, this is bizarre, and this would be extremely hard to replicate, even if you did try, and you would never get it down to, you would never get it perfect in how it's being shown here now. So
right.
that's where I lack, at the current moment, is saying I don't know how something makes that or the exact weight, but I would estimate it's easily just 1,000. I mean, it might even be more than that. I mean, it's just insane though. Like, I mean, 270. I was 265, and I remember that weight. And that's just, you really trying. You can,
Mm-hmm.
do some.
Yeah,
But like putting a foot, if you can't make even an indention, damn,
yeah.
it's
And it was
something.
deep. It,
Yes.
it
Oh
it
God.
had to have been at least an inch and a half, 2 inches deep. Were at the heel or at the toes. But here is the bizarre part
What
that
the
I'm
hell is
trying
that?
to get. I know, right? Here's the bizarre part that I'm trying to get to here. One track. One. I pride myself on being a halfway decent tracker. Okay. I went back from where the toes were pointing. I turned around and looked and tried to backtrack to see if I could find more. I could not. There was a small stream that it would have had to cross in the
Yeah.
direction of its travel. So I said, okay, I can't find anything back there. Let's go forward and see what we can find. It would have had to leap across or at least step across this chasm. It was probably about 7 feet. Okay. That's a decent little distance. I had to take a little jump to get across it. I can clear 7 feet. I disturbed me. I disturbed the leaves around the area where I landed. I disturbed a little bit of the earth. From the impression of that foot that I found in the ground there, I found absolutely nothing. Nothing else. No other tracks and no other. And I found this one other time. Um, it was an 18-inch track, an impression. It was an impression in leaves. Okay. I took a picture of it. There's nothing for me to cast.
Yeah.
And none of the tracks I've ever found were decent enough to cast, but
I mean, it's
one.
also that's a whole process, man. Oof, God. It
Right.
can, yeah, it cannot. I mean, to do it proper, it's not always, it's not an easy task. So
But I couldn't find another track. This last time I got lucky and found one track and two partials.
so okay. Did
So
the did the partials, okay? What in relation, were they before or after then?
there was one complete track,
Yeah.
partial before,
Okay.
a partial after. Okay. There was like I could tell where the like a ball of foot was. Maybe like let's say this is the foot, and this
Yeah.
side right here was dug into the ground, and a portion of a toe, right,
Yeah.
is about that much. Okay, probably about
Hmm.
maybe about 10 inches, maybe. Okay, let's give that 8 inches. Okay, but from there, from the tip of the toe there to the heel of the complete track, the impression was a 5 foot stride. And from the toe of the complete track to the partial in front of it was about 4 and 4.5. But after that, I found nothing else.
I was gonna add now that question. That's I was gonna say. You, it would have to be. Yeah, it'd have to be bipedal. So I mean, I feel like it would have to be
Mm-hmm.
in order to make that. Yeah, yeah. There's no way. Because I'm thinking. Again, my mind, how it works. People get to see it live right now. It's actually kind of. I don't know. Like it makes me not look like so studious because I'm like, well, what if it was like this? And then I'm like, well, no, that's a dumb question. Don't put that out there. But like I'm thinking, like I guess my mind when you hear something like this because this is kind of crazy actually. This is out there. Wow. I mean, I'm thinking, well, maybe four. Did it walk on all fours? Wait a minute, no, it couldn't have because the impressions are definitely bipedal.
Bipedal.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm like, no, wait a minute. It's just like that's what I'm saying. So sometimes your mind, like mine does, goes to these kind of things, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. I already know the answer to this. I'm trying to rationalize this somewhat too. So that's another thing I keep in mind. My thing is the partials. That's so I don't
I don't get it either.
what the
I
why
don't understand.
I would have thought both were before or even after, but not between.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they be? Why would they? What's? Because I was gonna say with the single that didn't make any sense either. Because I was thinking you said it looked like it dug in. Maybe this thing took off, and I'm like, what was it like? You know, I mean, it's almost goofy, but like are these things like tiptoeing through the forest and like trying not to make an impression, like doing the best they can, and then suddenly like it dug in to take off, like jump possibly, but then it's like it's something that big, like that doesn't really make any sense either. So like that's what I mean. Like sometimes like these kind of things, I'm trying to think rationalize, like, but then your rationalities kind of become like they fall apart quickly because it's like, well, that doesn't make any damn sense actually, even
Right.
in the fantastical sense, because it's just like so and And I assume without you said this is in probably the area that you frequent. I assume, right? Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
God damn, dude, that's crazy. And that's also where you had your experience with like having things thrown at you, right?
Yep. And some of the telepathy.
Yeah, you're wow, yeah, you're a braver man than I am.
Oh, that scared the shit out of me. I'm going to tell you
I
that right now.
I,
I've no, I have been
I would have
I have
been.
been shot at. I've had I've had some hairy. I've been in some hairy situations.
Yeah,
That night, I had my 4570 with me. I could take that to Africa right now and hunt Cape buffalo
yeah.
with it. I doesn't, eh, no problem.
If people
I
know guns,
didn't
they
feel.
know. Yeah.
I did not feel. I did not feel a least bit of safety there.
See, that's what I've always kind of gotten a little bit wary about is getting that feeling right there when you have something that in our realm of existence is
Hmm.
supposed to protect us and we're like this is going to stop whatever imminent threat is put in front of me. It will knock anything down, especially what you had. And to have that feeling like I'm screwed no matter what. It's like, oh, what do we do then? What do we do? And that's that's the experience, man. That's something like it's weird, but I get kind of like half nervous, like I don't know, it's almost uneasy, but kind of excited, like almost like to maybe run across something like that sometime,
Right.
because I do. Every time I'm out, I have my, like I said, I have concealed uh, carry too, and I always know I'm like I'm pretty okay. And I mean, most of the things I've run into, anyways, while hiking, being out in the forest. I mean, to be honest, the worst damn thing I've run into is snakes. God, you gotta be careful with those. Uh, I think I told you that little timber, it was a timber rattlesnake
Oh yeah.
down in Tennessee, reared up. We were just walking his night, that little sucker, he reared up real quick, didn't bite because he probably didn't have damn energy. But our little dog jumped back, took off, she took off. I kind of stood there. I walked about 15 feet back and I just watched it for a bit. Not because I'm like, I'm going to psych you out. It's more like, well, I'm kind of interested. It's kind of cool shit. I'm just going to watch it for a minute and hopefully, follow, let them kind of get a little bit away too. But also, it's just like a curiosity about, like, damn, I was that close to something that could have just took us all out of it. Felt like it. I mean, it had to put in some real effort, I guess, to get everybody. But it's kind of, after you have that, you're like, that's scary. But so to have something like yours, it's like, it's hard to wrap my mind around, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
It's not saying I believe you had it. I believe you had it. Absolutely, you're one of those I do believe. With all this, um, I can't even imagine, man. I can't wrap my head around it. I've been uneasy in just the things I've told you, and they don't come close.
Yeah.
I mean, it's damn. I mean, what do you? So what do you think then? Like these experiences you've had then with this. This is I mean, I guess as close of encounter as anybody I've ever met and known personally. Um, with them, especially that camping night and the telepathy. What, why, what is it you think that, I guess, causes the interaction between you and that? Do you think there's any reason, or just like, do they seek you out almost? You think, or is it just happens? I don't know.
I think it was a combination of several things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I intentionally camped out that night on the night of a new moon when it was going to be the darkest.
Very
Okay,
good.
I
Yeah.
I,
Good
I
answer.
intentionally camped out that night there.
Yeah.
Um, I had noticed during the day,
Yeah.
strange stuff. Okay, the whole forest getting quiet. Wind stops moving, crickets stop chirping, birds stop singing, the whole nine.
Yeah.
It should have been,
Mm-hmm.
it should have been a red flag, but my dumb ass says, "No, yeah, my He-Man macho ass is going to stay out here. I've camped 100 times by myself. It ain't no problem."
Yeah, you're not gonna tell me what the hell to do, Forrest. Like,
Right? It's no big deal.
I've had that
But
happen
yeah,
once. That forest, I call it the forest gaze. I've had it happen
yeah.
once. I'll be honest. I turned. We left. Me and
Mm.
hers got. I told her it got quiet and she didn't notice. I said, "Dude, we're getting the." I said, I verbatim. I said, "We're getting the fuck out of here." I said, "We're not staying." I said, "This is not okay." I said, "This don't
Right.
happen." So you were badass a little bit for real. Like, I mean, I've had that, and it's not something I was like, "Man, I gotta go." Like, I'm gonna stay here. God, you're not gonna move me. So, I mean, so you kind of, I guess, in a way, like, kind of, I mean, it's that thing I just talked about. You put yourself kind of, I guess, in the moment in a way. So, like, it's kind of you're right. It's a combination. You kind of, I guess, put yourself in that path a little bit. If
Oh,
I,
I did,
yeah,
and I had look, and it's I've talked a little about something too. We talked about this the other night, um, in a live stream. Ray, it's good to see you. Um, we tell me if you remember we talking about this the other night. The spirit of intention. You
yes,
know, we talked about that. You know how is that's that sixth sense you were talking about, how you felt uneasy, how you said,
Mhm.
let's get the fuck out of Dodge.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. You're standing at the checkout line. This is the scenario I use all the time. You're standing at the checkout line at the grocery store. You're getting ready to check out. You're perusing the tabloids sitting there, just looking at the bullshit. And all of a sudden you feel something, and you turn around and you look, and there's somebody staring a hole through you. You felt that intention. You felt it. They project it. We project it. That night,
Very good. Very good.
I was projecting a little bit more of a aggressive intent.
Yeah.
I had that rifle with me. I had my pistol on my side. I'm ready. No, I was not. No, I was not. I was attacked in a way that I was not prepared for, and they got in my head. And it's I can't remember the gentleman's name, but Carrie and Daniela had him on Bigfoot Odyssey last year, and he had a run in with the forest folk, and they'd gotten into his head, and he'd mentioned that he felt violated, like he'd been almost been, you know, rape. It was almost like rape in his mind, where they'd gotten into his head and they were poking around there. It was not so severe for me, but it was enough for me to get my shit and get that night. So that being the time of night and my attitude, I believe, is what put me in that predicament.
Yeah, so they're kind of, I mean, I guess it's like almost too dominant. I get not so much two dominant forces. That's what I'm trying to say. Two dominant forces kind of coming upon each other, and at the almost like at a watering hole, and one of them is just not so much. One of them makes the decision like, I don't think I should get into this. This one's a little bit bigger than me. I probably should back off. So it's it's almost like that. So I wonder if that's what they saw it as, like encroachment, and so that's the God, I'm trying to think of the word. Why they, God, I cannot think of the word right now. Excuse me. Why they kind of approached you though, or tangled, so to speak, with you. Kind of say, hey,
I know where you're getting at. I know where you're getting at. It was hunting season. It was their time, and I was in their way.
Yeah,
more or less, because I'm here. Because I'm here to tell you, after I hightailed it to my vehicle, I got in and I left. Okay. Well, I come back. I got my courage up and I said, I'm coming back. Yeah. I'm coming back, but I'm staying in my truck. But the whole 7.5 mile trip from one end of that stretch to the other, because from beginning to end is 7.5 miles, and I was right snap dab in the middle.
Yeah.
And there's like 3.5 miles in one direction, 3.5 in the other direction of nothing. Okay. So I was in the middle of freaking nowhere.
Yeah.
And I was the only living human soul in that holler. The only living human soul. So, like I said, I put myself in that situation.
Yeah, and it's not so much, I just, like I said myself, it's kind of that sense that you want to. There's only so much, I guess, for us that we can sit back and research before I want to get out there and get that. I have a compulsion almost to sometimes get out and hey, I just what kind of whatever comes, it just does. But I can only sit back and look things over before I'm like, I want to get out there and see it for myself. Whether or not I see anything, I mean, I just enjoy going out, getting out in nature, and being surrounded by the forest as is. So it's a win-win, whatever comes. But like, I think it's that pushing, kind of just a drive almost to get out there and see, just to see what happens. And you did. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did you feel, I guess, any kind of ill intent though, like any kind of imminent threat, danger, like, or is it just more of a kind of trying to drive you away?
Oh, I definitely had the feeling that. All right, here's how it went. Um, all my life, I I know what a whippoorwill sounds like. Okay, they're a beautiful songbird at night. Ugly as hell, but they're a beautiful songbird at night,
Yeah.
and they, even if they're close, they're loud, but not that they're not that loud. And I've never heard more than two, maybe three. Okay,
Yeah.
these I started hearing whippoorwills all up and down the holler. I counted probably seven or eight, and they were very loud, very loud. At one point, I got an image of one in my head, okay? And
Mm-hmm.
it's the this is the only way I can tell you. It's weird as shit, but this is what happened. I got the image of one in my head, and it said leave now. This is your one and only. It wasn't words, okay? It wasn't so much words, but like you and I talking right now. It
And
was
yeah.
it was an impression in my mind, and it was interpreted in my mind this way: get out now, leave now. This is your only warning. And they were all over the place, and these damn things sounded like they weighed about 300 pounds. They were loud, buddy. One loud. And maybe behind where I was camped, probably about 300-400 yards up the creek from where I was at, I heard a wah. I mean, it was loud. I said, "That ain't no damn bird. That ain't
No.
no damn bird." I grabbed my rifle. I grabbed uh, my canteen, and I hit the bricks. I left my camping stuff
Yeah.
there. I didn't
That's
bother take
the
breaking nothing down. I just left.
and see, that's all. That's one of those things that happen with uh, whatever accounts. God, I might have pushed that too close. There we go. We don't need me right in that, but uh, but like, um, it's one of those things that people relay about experiences, like what you just said. You picked up essentials and bailed. Like, that's one of those things that people again and again and again, like you hear in stories, and about people just having that instinct to run, to not
Hmm.
say, "Oh yeah, let's get things." They get out and they go. I've had that myself. Um, I mean, it's just, again, that's one of those things. It's like there's too many instances to just discount that there is nothing going on. It's too many.
Hmm.
Again, like one incident of something in a vacuum, yeah, you can probably explain that away, probably a logical reason, especially if that's the only you only have kind of one solid whatever, or just one incident or something. But if you start seeing patterns, um, you know, repetitious events, or repetition in events, it becomes a little bit more. And so that's one of those. It's like that's a natural human instinct to get away from
Hmm.
something that you are afraid of, or that you are put off by, or whatever. You just want to get away. And so there inherently, that's not so much logic and reason, but that's just what we do. And so again, that's another kind of thing I would go off of. to say, yeah, something is going on, because human behavior dictates that's what happens, no matter, in just regular situations. If you can take it and apply it, just like you said, with the intent, the feeling like someone's staring at you, just out in the grocery, that's again a normal life event that you then take and and put you know right up against something else that happens somewhere, fantastical. But you're like, but my behavior, the same feelings were there. The same feelings are there. So like, what's going on? I'm not crazy because I'm having this similar reaction to two completely different things. One is just harder to peg down. Um, so like when we display those repetition, the repetition in our human behavior, to me that says there's something, and we don't know how to figure that out. I just know that I'm being stared at, like that. I get that, but
Right.
like, I shouldn't feel that here. What is going on then? And I mean, forests can, you get out there high. It depends on how deep you get. There's always going to be things that, like, probably normal that might. I mean, even with me, I've been like, what the hell? And then I'm like, oh, well, that's what that was. And so, but so it can kind of sometimes, play tricks on you. But I mean, it's just not to this degree. I mean, again, like, I just try to think of what someone's going to say. Oh, you were just imagining it. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Right.
I'm not going to say, hey, there's a possibility, but start to look a little bit deeper. Don't look at it surface level. Look at deeper. Listen to the details of it. And then tell me you can't put that into a regular life event like at the grocery store. And it's not kind of similar in how the reaction is, like the basic reaction that we have to things without thinking about it. So um, it's
Yeah.
really, I don't know, those are the kind of stories there that like really lend something to all this, and like it's a big, I don't know, it's just it's kind of incredible. It's hard to wrap your mind around, definitely.
Oh,
I mean,
definitely. I mean, it happened to
it's like,
me,
what the
and I
hell
mean,
happened?
right, and I still can't understand it.
I mean, yeah. Well, hell, man, I just don't understand any of the things that I really think happen or witnessed. It's hard to wrap my mind around it because it's just so fantastical.
Right, Ray.
And that's a very, yes.
Each additional event simply validates the
Yep.
previous experience. That's exactly what we're trying to get to. Exactly, Ray.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that tracks exactly, because yeah, exactly, because that's just like what the little stuff I've been, me and you have discussed, I've told you and relayed to you, just because I know that you'll kind of listen, and it's crazy, but like, just what I said, like, if one thing happens, it's like, okay, file it away, could be nothing,
Right.
isolated incident, but then if you
Hmm.
start getting 2 and 3 and 4, and there's more, and it's like, okay, I can't, you can't ignore everything. You got to sometimes say there's either a really unexplainable scientific anomalous event happening to just me, that science could easily say, oh yeah, that's what happens. It's just very rare and whatever. Um, or someone has to look at it and go, this is some weird shit, man. There's some weird shit, and it kind of starts to go, all right, what's going on here? Like, somebody pulling is someone concocting all this and trying to pull a prank almost or something? And it's just, because it's just like, what is it's hard for the human mind to say, okay, something's going on. I have no idea, and I don't know what it could do to me.
Right.
So, absolutely, with what Ray said there, absolutely.
We I talk about cognitive dissonance a lot, and
Yes.
there's a lot of people who suffer greatly from that. Who, I mean, I listen to these stories about how people have had experiences, and they've had experiences with someone else with them, and
Yeah.
this person wants to tell their story, but the person who experienced the exact same thing denies it ever happened.
Yeah.
And I think that goes along with how some of these people treat their experiences, how they just will deny it,
Yeah.
suffer through it. They'll have lasting effects because of it for whatever reason, but they will deny whatever happened because they can't accept the fact that this seemingly unnatural event took place.
I've seen that within recent events. That kind of distancing yourself from it to say it could be this and this and this, and it's like, okay, well, I don't buy that, but you know, I, I see it outright ignored. My own experiences have had lasting impacts on me. I have been fortunate that they haven't, I guess, traumatized me or
Right.
left a lasting scar. I can see, however, where that could happen very easily. Um, because I think my experiences are pretty mild in comparison to a lot of them. I think mine mostly they scared me, but retelling people aren't. It's not like, oh my god, it's terrifying. I mean, there's some of them, a few that are, I will say, but for the most part, I find them fascinating, intriguing, and it's kind of why I developed such a you know uh, passion and interest in the things I have now. Trying to figure things out through a lens of reason, logic, and it's pushed me for that and kind of created just a mark, but not one I would consider negative, I suppose. I can see why it would though for people, definitely,
Right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
because we just don't know what this stuff is. And again, I get my theories. I mean, it's not like they're original nor unique. People have said them before and ascribe to them. They do get a little out there though as far as this goes, because I start to wonder, just one I posit, especially more recently, is any of this anything that we've labeled at all? Is it anything that we have in our known languages across the globe even fit? Is it just completely something different that we have too many assumptions and notions about? And it's shown what we wanted, or that we have compromised to, or compromise within ourselves, not compromise. I'm trying to think. Uh, God, I can't. It's almost like we've come to an agreement that this is what it is, because we cannot fathom it, we cannot understand it, and it's within you know because it's theorized there's other dimensions other than the three that we know right now. Time being the
Right.
fourth that a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people do accept, but then the others get kind of out there, and it's like, are these things somehow tapped into those, and the human mind is not? And so with the dimensions we do have, we've concocted you know almost projections of what these things are. Like, I don't know, it's just my own experiences. I don't know. I think more and more that there's just different planes of existence, and we are on one of our own that exists, kind of like what we've talked about, but there are more out there, and it could be free floating, it could be rotating on some kind of fixed axis. It could even be on an axis that merges from time to time. That's why people see things that they cannot explain, or they think that they experience hauntings, when really it's either different planes of existence, different timelines, or even interdimensionality. And I don't know, I just think that's a fun, kind of fascinating one to think about, because it's like it flips all of it on its head, but it also kind of starts looking at it like maybe none of us are on you know track with it all the way. None of us know. None of us can say that we're right or wrong. It's just we've been looking at it through kind of our own fixed ways of it. So I don't know. I mean, it's kind of interesting to think about it. It would be just insane, and it would explain some things, but not absolutely not everything. Just some of the things I've noticed with things. It's just so bizarre, because that's why I ascribe to interdimensionality, especially you know how ball lightning plays into that, the phenomenon of that, which is one that's very, not a lot is on record for it. Um, and, but there are theories that when people see it, it's to do with like these, what you talk about, these portals and dimensions, like almost kind of like where we're just gliding over each other. And that's like the energy created from a doorway opening. And it's, weird. Is it like things that come through? Can things come through or can we go through? Are we seeing things, that terrify us? And is this other plane is seeing things that terrify them? It's like, does it go both ways? And that's why there's this kind of sometimes aggression. And I don't know. I mean, there's so many questions that I don't think one theory can explain. I think that we can put them kind of together, but that's why I just kind of propose that, like, just because science does, it has started delving into, like, it's fringe, of course, but like parallel worlds and just the, looking at time different as it's in a more non-linear sense versus, how we perceive it. And it, there's a lot in the universe we still cannot explain fully, or that we just don't know all the way. Just a lot of theories, and that's where that kind of plays in. It would be, again, playing with yours, where it's like, it's very interesting though. You said it instantly decays, and it's like, or something crossing over starts to decay right away. It's like, does that, I guess I wonder, is it like, do they somehow take on the properties of the world they enter, which would be of a, I guess, a biological sense? Like, do they only take that on for that amount of time that they're there or something? Or do they get stuck here? And I mean, I don't know. I don't,
Well,
gosh,
yeah, that's as far as I understand, that's one of the theories.
that one, I mean, I kind of like that one, but it raises so many, it's like more questions. I'm like, oh shit, what is
Right.
that? I mean, it's very cool though, because it's like, I don't know. It's
Well,
crazy.
when you are getting back to the fringe science, and I honestly believe that's where we're going to find our answers in this
Yeah.
fringe science. And quantum physics talks about
Yeah.
hormonal frequencies, frequencies that we all have our own adjusted frequency. What if that was thrown out of whack? What if something happened and um, something shifted and uh, like you see something that wasn't there before? It was like there's a person there, um, and then this person is gone. Something happened that disrupted a hormonal frequency that would allow us to see or be
Yeah.
in a different dimension. We're
I've thought about that too. That's another interesting one. Yeah. It's like, is there like a, it's almost like what they refer to it sometimes, the glitch in the matrix. It's like a blip almost. So that could totally be another, I mean, that could be something that goes into all that too. Not just like, that's the thing when we propose something, it's not like, uh, uh, this new one suddenly, right? Or this idea is right. It's like, maybe they all join. It's like putting a puzzle together.
right.
And, it's just, God, that would be an interesting one. That could be something like, it's almost like, yeah, where it goes in with the two things merging. It's like almost maybe they don't merge, but they come close, and then the disruption occurs, and so then you see or you experience something or you're put somewhere, and I mean, I'm not to get too far, whatever, down the rabbit hole, because you can, just like things cross over here, do they get stuck or do people get stuck? Going both ways. Like, you know, again, is it two way, one way? I mean, in the frequencies and such, and the magnetic Earth's magnetic field is another weird one, like how animals are tuned to it. Certain animals are. And
Right.
then, humans aren't as, it's funny, like we think we're the most advanced things on the planet. And for the most part we are. But like there's certain things that other, natural, biological things can do that we just can't. And we never will be able to. And it's just like we can push our technology as, further and further and further, but like we will never have the natural ability to do certain things. It will always be a replication. And like, so to me, certain things are more advanced than we are, but we just learn how to jabber and give our opinions, and the other stuff can't. So I'm sure they have some. I always joke. I'm like, would dogs be offended if they knew, if they could tell us how they felt when we called them, like how a female dog's referred to as a bitch? Like, would they be offended by that term? I mean, I don't know. Like, it's just one of those dumb things, but it's like, they, since we can't communicate, we don't know. They might be, quite pissed off about certain things, but it's just, I think frequencies, man, I don't know. That's a really good one. It's a really good one. I think that plays in a lot more than we might think. Even more so than what, the overlaps. Right. Because I think everybody does have some kind of frequency and something to do with the other, and it's all just kind of somehow joined, but I don't know how. And that's the thing. I don't think I'll know in my lifetime. I don't know how far, if we ever will. It's okay. It's still fun. It's still engaging and still fascinating.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes knowing the truth isn't as fun as enlightening or fulfilling as we think it will be.
Yeah. Sometimes the mystery is the fun of the ride. Once we find out the truth, we're like, oh.
Yeah, it's like,
really?
Yeah, this was it. I think that's what draws a lot of people to this, and why people are so fascinated by, like, horror movies in general. It's just the mystery of it, like the thrill of being kind of, not knowing and kind of being a little scared of things, and it's like, or just scared of the unknown. It like gives us a thrill. It's okay. It's natural. It's okay. Even the people who really, worst one I probably know is my mother, about all that. I still know, though, I see her when she talks about some of the things that she's experienced. I still see, I'm like, there's like a little like pang of excitement. Like, I don't know what this is. And it makes me feel like a little scared, but it's also kind of cool. It makes me feel alive at the same time. And it's just natural. Shit happens, man. I mean, most people want to see crazy shit their whole life or something like this. And I take it like I'm fortunate to have seen it, and I'm, diagnosed non, hallucinatory. I mean, most people can say, I guess, that they aren't hallucinating, and it is something they saw, and it's just like, I don't know.
Right.
I mean, that's why I bring up pareidolia too. Seeing, sometimes people see faces and stuff in the, especially in the Force. God, there's things there. Optical illusions are an absolute thing. So, sometimes that plays in. I don't know, though. It's just one of those things. It's like, it's not so much I'm trying to, when I ask people that, I'm like, I'm trying to make sure that you are wrong. I'm more like, make sure you can rule this out, because somebody else will bring it up. If I don't with you, someone else will eventually. And then you'll be left kind of, caught off guard, because they might be out to prove you, I told you so kind of demeanor, where I'm just like, you got to be prepared for that, because people are going to be jerks, man. And you just got to be prepared for it. It sucks, because it's happened to me. And it's like,
oh yeah.
Nobody believed any of anything that I experienced as a kid or in my 20s. I was on my own. And
that sucks.
I learned to be on my own, I guess. But I also learned I heard enough questions, and I'm intelligent enough, I guess, to kind of start coming up with my own questions for myself. So I go, either I can say I was prepared for that. One, or I can say I don't know, or I can say no, it wasn't that actually. So I just try to prepare myself and others, just because you're gonna face a lot more ridicule than you think. People can be really nasty, and so you know, really dismissive, and
Oh yeah,
it's just better to
yeah.
be prepared for that than not. So I don't know. I think sometimes I probably come off like I'm questioning to to like maybe my whatever, but it's more I just not hell man. I don't have to believe you. That don't matter one bit in your world actually.
Right.
It doesn't. You still had the experience, at least you think you did. So my thoughts on it don't matter at all. But yours do. You had it. So here's what you should be ready for if you do want to tell other people, because they're gonna come at you. Some people won't, but you know, if you're just ready to have your story be told that it's just a story and it's fiction, you'll be all right then. Because shit. So what? People. I mean, again, you had that experience. It's important to you. Mine are important to me. It does feel good when people believe you and lend validity to it, absolutely. But man, you know, somebody's negative opinion, typically, I don't know. I don't really try to buy into them, just because it's like, damn, if you're being that negative about this, damn, what else are you miserable about in your life? Damn, shit, man. Like, I mean, it's just like, okay, like I mean, it's not gonna offend me, and
Right.
that's other people. If everybody gets that mentality a little bit, not all the way, because you're allowed to be offended sometimes. Shit, everybody is. I've been, but like if you can kind of deflect more and learn to be okay, I say that share it then. I mean, it just sucks because I mean I know people do come out and have confessed that they've made up stories and such, and that's where I think a lot of people like get reluctant because they're like, well, you know, they they see that kind of factors in too. So I think that makes people hesitant too, because people aren't believed, or they do come out and say, "Oh yeah, I made it up." It's kind of you know, it does affect people coming forward. I know that.
And that's unfortunate, man. Um, People's ignorance and lack of awareness is just it's disheartening in how they treat people. It. Why would you take somebody, and I've heard of this story happening before. Uh, Someone has an experience, and it's very traumatic to them, and they tell their best friend. The best friend laughs at them and tells them they're crazy. Now, how in the hell is it supposed to make your buddy feel? What kind of asshole does that?
I mean, in my experience, people that aren't very open minded to most things in the world,
Right.
this isn't the only one that they've that's not the only subject that they've done that with. So I mean, most of the time they don't. They lack imagination too, in a lot of ways. I just think if you're going out of your way to be nasty, like you learned that behavior somewhere.
Right.
Someone made you feel like shit, so you figure that's the only thing you know, or that's the only way to be, and that's how you subconsciously, whatever, you can get a thrill out of. I don't know what it is. I don't. That's the one thing I guess in this world. Yeah, I don't want to understand it. I don't care to. Like,
Right.
just
And
take.
Rick, it's like
What?
Rick says right here. He's some folks just can't handle what's actually out there, and that's true.
Yeah,
They're
it is.
scared, and um, I think what it boils down to is they're scared as hell of it,
Yeah,
and
because yeah.
because it it disrupts their paradigm, their reality, everything they believe they know about the world and this reality. If what you tell them is true, then it gets shifted and oh shit.
It's full circle. It invalidates their beliefs. That's how they take it.
Right.
versus, oh yeah, I was wrong. I wasn't prepared for that, but
Right.
it's an interesting twist. Go with it. But to
Mm-hmm.
them, it's like it invalidates their entire existence, and it's like, God, you had a fragile mentality to begin with. Like,
Right. Well, we've been conditioned. We've been conditioned. I mean, think of
oh,
it this way:
absolutely.
from childhood to believe that it's like it's like it, it's like Rick says here. We've all been told Bigfoot and all cryptids are fairy tales, and that's true. That's basically a fact. We've been told that ghosts aren't real.
It would be very interesting if they ended up being fairy tales in a more literal sense. That'd be something. Uh,
Right.
Again, that goes into that really interesting theory of, again, that's one of the weird ones. Sidebar, real quick, that I also ascribe to, that these things existed here before us. They've been here, and that's how they remain out of sight. Is they know the world so much better and so much more in depth than we ever will, and they know how to operate within it. And um, I don't know. I mean, it's just another, with the whole Fae and Dark Fae. Uh, it's just another interesting one. I've watched quite a few things on and read about, and yeah, it could be that. Could just be there's some kind of energy form that we aren't, and that we haven't, we don't know how to detect. I mean, it's a really cool one too. So that would actually be kind of a badass thing if they turned out to be fairy tales and that's how they were written. People, that's funny enough. That would be how some of these things were written as, those kind of stories way back.
Right.
So they've been
And did
seeing them
these
since then, and yeah, it's been passed down as that.
exactly.
That would be
Now,
kind of cool.
I I I subscribe. I actually subscribe to that. The fact that I believe that honestly, I think we are the humans in general, all of us, every last single human on this planet, every race, all of us are alien to this planet. I know that sounds crazy, but if you think about it,
Yeah.
we're the only creature on this planet that can't step outside and survive without some type of technology to back us up.
Yeah. I
From
mean, yeah.
from the tip of a spear back in the Stone Age, the fire, the wheel, to what we have now, we have had to clothe ourselves to protect ourselves from the elements.
And
What other creature on this planet has to do that? They have
well,
natural ability to do that.
thank you. That's, yeah, exactly. And that's what's, that's not as far fetched when you start breaking it down, because like, yeah, you're right. What humans, as soon as we figured out like that we could capitalize, there's no other species that's really done that. We're
Right.
the only one, and we are actively causing the extinction. We're in our sixth mass extinction event right now, and we're actively causing that. Now, extinctions do occur naturally. There's been several uh, over the course of whatever how long the species has been around. Sometimes they naturally do go extinct, but at the rate it is right now, that's not happening. We are causing it. We are causing a lot of the issues with climate, um, and it goes in habitat destruction, pollution, population, climate change, overharvesting. We are behind that. That's us.
Yep.
And so, if you were to look at it through the objective lens, or even a more different perspective, we are tearing this planet apart. It doesn't seem like, if you want to look at what belongs and what doesn't, you kind of would probably look at humans first, just by the impact, and say, are you guys harvesting this planet until it's going to be dry of resources and dead, and then leave it? Like, so, I mean, like a lot of the
Right.
sci-fi movies, like, because it's kind of like that's what we're doing. Like, and I mean, we've gotten better in some areas, but this all started back in the industrial age. When we first, started, they over harvested the waters between I think Alaska, between Alaska and the United States, so much so that I don't think what was it, the cod. I'm if I'm recalling right, the cod population there will never recover. Like we just depleted the hell out of it. So like, and I may have a few of those flubbed, but so if I'm incorrect on any of it, I'm fine and I'm cool if somebody knows. But if I recall, I mean, something I learned, as a class I had, God, about a year ago. So I'm not exactly sure, but it was something like we depleted the, resources and such that it's apparent that we are almost not quite invasive, but there's definitely destructive, and it's almost in the man. I don't know. It kind of sucks, but I don't know that none of us. There's not any certain. I don't know. I'm guilty of it, I guess, as much as anyone. We all are. We can't help it almost.
Yeah.
I don't know that we can ever avoid. I don't think there's avoiding it. We had time, but I don't know that we do anymore. It's gotten too far in a lot of areas. So yeah, we might. I mean, be interesting how we got here then. What brought us here?
I mean, there's a lot of theories that we were brought here for. Um, well, it's like Ray is saying here, the Dogon tribe. I guess that's how you pronounce it. Believes a human was seated here, specifically Africa. They are an interesting group.
Would it be Sumer? I mean, some of that I don't know if it's Sumer. I know Sumerian goes or Sumerian, sorry, goes back a little bit to some of those things and like they're like like they had ancient kind of like what is their oh my god, their art and writings have like depictions of like almost I guess like sky people and such.
Right.
So some of it and the weirdest thing is the God. See, this is one of those dumb facts I can recall perfectly, and it's dumb as hell. And I've heard it like it's not dumb as hell, but I heard it like years back, so I don't know why I'm recalling it so good. But like, I think it's the battery or like a battery they found in Iraq in a cave, but they dated it to like thousands of years ago. But it's a battery. So how in the hell did they have that? What powered that? What did that power? And I mean, yeah, it was found in Iraq, if I'm recalling correctly, in a cave somewhere after an archaeological dig or something akin to that, and they dated it thousands of years in the past. But it was a battery. So like, the hell's that? What is that? I mean, that's something that's not just myth or whatever. That's definitely one of those things that's out there. It's like it's very bizarre and nobody really knows. And
Right.
if I'm recalling, unless it's a total hoax and I fell for it years back before I started really digging into stuff and I haven't come across it yet.
Oh, I don't believe so. I believe it's true.
Because I'm like sitting there like that,
Well, like Ray
Telling that
says
cool
here, she says Sumerian tablets. Before that, the Emerald tablets, and
I'm
they,
not familiar with the emerald.
yeah, if I'm not mistaken, they give a genealogy and of the Anunnaki and the other races. The Baghdad battery made with acidic vinegar.
We go. That's what I was. Yeah. So see, I was a little bit off, but that's what I was thinking of. That's exactly it. So I'm glad somebody else kind of knew what I was talking about. It kind of helps a little bit. Yeah. That. Yeah. Yeah, you're right there. She knows. Yeah, Ray knows what's up. Yeah. It was. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. But it's just like what, like how, why, like it's one of those weird kind of things. It's just like I don't know. There's a couple other things too, and I can't think of them now because I'd have to look them all up again. But there's just certain weird pieces of like human technology or whatever you want to call it, human invention or creation or found in human settlements, civilizations, akin to that. That's just weird, and it's like, where did that come from? How did we
You
know?
know, I'm going to tell you. This is one of the things I think about a lot when I get really deep into this subject, and I think about one of the greatest tragedies of humankind, and I think personally that was the burning of the Library of Alexandria because it held
Yeah,
so much knowledge of us and our past.
yeah. I mean, that's how
You,
they lost a lot of Aristotle's. Uh, Maybe not a lot of his. God, somebody's. Um, but I mean, but I know Aristotle. They lost. A lot of his works were lost over time too. But like, yeah, the losing that, man, that all of the stuff they had amassed there, it's just like devastating. Like that is one of those things that's just leaves so much up to like what could have been going on then and happening, because they documented, God, they were meticulous, if anything, about that. Getting every piece that they could and documenting all these things, and it's funny how, despite everything, even what at their time that they were on the cusp of the cusp or whatever, they were at the farthest we had advanced as a civilization, it's still just a simple natural element that just wipes it all out. So we still are. It's as far along as humans are. We still are susceptible to those most basic of elements, and
oh yeah.
are being one of them. Even now, it's crazy.
Going on 2 hours, pal.
Oh yeah, I was reading some of the things. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a possibility. The Vatican. I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, that would make sense because I mean, around that time, yeah, a lot of them. Well, I don't want to get my timeline too wrong, but I know that a lot of monks were scribes back then and copied
Mm-hmm.
um, an intense amount of. Uh, I don't think the monks came around at that time. No, it wouldn't be them. No, I'm wrong a little bit on that. But I know. Oh God, I can't remember what group. Damn it. There was a group though, definitely, that always, especially back then, over periods of time, like religion. I can't say the word. Religion. I'm trying to say it's like religiosity or something. I'm missing one syllable in that, I think. But it was you know, it permeated everything in life. Um, Even if they, some of it doesn't reflect that, it absolutely did, because you can tell just from underlying certain things. Um, but even before that, people, they kept such detailed records, a lot of them, because they were, I guess, life allowed for certain, philosophy to thrive and be a centerpiece of their culture, with Plato and Aristotle and
Mm-hmm.
the like. And I mean, with all of them, constantly, you know keeping record and pushing the study and stuff, and you know being the forefathers of thought and science and such. It's just like, we have no idea what exactly was lost.
Exactly.
We know certain things, but what was really, there could be some things that not never got out. So
I mean, there had to have been, um, origin texts that delved even deeper than what the Sumerian tablets that we have now, even the Emerald tablet. The Babylonian and the
yeah,
Egyptian or the Sumerian text. So far, if you look at the Bible, and this is going to shake some people up a little bit. Um, you look at the Bible and Genesis, a lot of that is talked about in the Sumerian text. That's how far that goes back. So, where did we come from? And there's theories that we as humans were meant to be a slave race, and then after a while, we were just left here to be on our own. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how much I buy into that, but you know, it makes it actually makes sense.
Could
You
be.
know,
I mean,
how different we are than from any other species on this planet.
yeah, we really, you know, it's funny, you know, we are, but there's some species that I mean, I wouldn't even think though do kind of reciprocate and mimic our behaviors, and it's really endearing almost, I guess. Uh, One I learned about today, and I've known about this animal for a while, but I didn't really, I guess, look into it. But the shoebill, I think it's a shoebill stork, or the something like that. Yeah, shoebill. It's something. It's one of the. It's only in Africa, and there's only like 3,000 to 5,000 in the wild, and there's only 4 places in the United States you can actually see these. Which I was bummed because I was like, well, shit, I don't live around any of that. But like, I watched the video of this thing, like a person bowing to it, and it would bow and turn, like gracefully almost, like it understood that this person was like, just mimicking this kind, or not, the person giving this kind of like behavior that's like ingratiating, like, and saying, hey, I'm a friend in a way, and I respect you. And this guy kept doing this back and forth with this, uh, shoebill stork. And these things are big, man. If we have anything that's anything like the dinosaurs, it's this damn thing. These things are like 5 feet tall and long, like this big. I mean, these things are mean. It can be mean, out in the wild. I mean, uh, they tussle with crocodiles sometimes, so like they don't play. But like with humans, they are extremely friendly actually. Like it's kind of nuts, and it's like two different things. A, a man and this bird kind of understood each other. They replicated each other's behaviors, or this bird replicated the person's behavior and almost seemed to like communicate like, yes, I'm friendly with you, you're friendly with me, we're fine, I like you, I like being around you. And they're known, kind of after I started reading it, to be very friendly toward humans. And it's like something like that I would not have thought. It's so, it's, birds are just a lot smarter and more in tune with human behavior than I thought. And that's what's kind of weird. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Shoebill. Okay, so I did get it right. I got something right. Finally. Goddamn time. Shit. I'm glad I didn't say the other name I was thinking of. But yeah. So you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Those are so cool though. Like it's so cool to see something like that's so different than us, like understand and be friendly with us. And it's like, so what is that even? Like, that like what kind of almost instinctual thing? Like, I don't know. Is that our not to get controversial? Is that our reptilian? No, no, but like, it's just kind of cool. It's like, so it's almost like sometimes I feel like we do belong, and we just lost our way. We lost our way with nature. We lost the way of what we were supposed to be. Kind of like we got enamored with glitz and glamour and bright lights and all these other things
Right.
that didn't matter, and we got lost in that and got too accustomed to it. And stuff like that is kind of almost a remnant of like what we used to be. And these things that have been around forever still recognize that, and they're like, hey, you dumbass, you're supposed to be cool with me and not destroy my home constantly because you just want to, and you want bigger, better things for yourself. And we're just like, oh, okay. And we just so is that thing really playing, like more playing along with us? Or, I mean, it's just kind of interesting because
Right.
it's like there's certain, and it sucks too because these things, there's just, it's that thing about where innocence, man, that's one thing in the world. No, you're never going to be able to come back from is harming innocence. And
Right.
that's children and
Mm-hmm.
animals for me, because you can get both of those, kids and most animals anyway. I mean, especially like dogs and the things that we've made pets, domesticated. For the most part, we can get them if we try to trust us. And the genes we lost over the years, I will look into that then. I
Yep.
will.
Surely will.
Uh, it's just like, though, you can get those things to implicitly trust you,
Mm-hmm.
and to pervert that and twist it for one's own whatever. It just, that's one thing you can't come back from. You
Right.
That's like a sacred thing to break. And so I don't know. It's just, that's what is so. I think sometimes that's why you hear of children having experiences and such. I think they're not so far away from it.
Mm-hmm.
What we, you're still in that, I guess, developmental stage where we haven't quite turned towards all the things that are, we know as adults and such. So,
There you go, brother.
yeah. So like, thank you. It's just like, man, I don't know. It's just like, it's sometimes I do wonder that. So like, and that's the thing, man. Just you mentioned that whole rabbit hole forms, and it's really cool because it's
It
like,
does.
but a lot of people, they won't even talk about this, and I'm like, oh my god, why does it threaten you so much to talk about things that are outside yourself? That's the only
Mm-hmm.
way you might grow and improve and discover things about who you are, to question things. And it's not, I'm spitting in any deity's face or any religion's face. I'm not at all. I mean, I'm not. I'm merely, it doesn't invalidate that for you. It
Right.
doesn't, and it shouldn't, because that's not what I'm trying to have it about. And I think that's where the disagreement comes, is from a lot of things, is people start thinking I'm invalidated. I'm not. It's like, that's not what I was getting at, but cool. I don't want to have this conversation, and I don't want to talk about
Right.
this.
Right. Well, yeah, people take their religion very seriously, man, and when you start challenging their their faith, and their supposed knowledge, um, they get shook up pretty
Tested.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, they very testy. And
Yeah.
we
Single
get to
test.
talking about we talked about this on Wednesday night about a child's innocence and uh, how they're more susceptible to the paranormal than adults are. They haven't been corrupted yet. Most of them have still the ability to access part of their natural instinct that we do not, you
Yeah.
know. And after a while it just kind of gets brushed over because of the indoctrination and programming that we go through life. It's
The
like,
herd and
how,
control.
yep, herd and control. And and everything going down this rabbit hole searching for Sasquatch, Bigfoot, forest people. I like to call them Sabe now. It's more of a suiting term for me. Um, I think that it hasn't shaken my faith at all. As a matter of fact, it's strengthened it. It's shown me more on a spiritual level,
Yeah.
of how great our Creator is, and how we've been led astray by
Yeah.
the powers that be. There's always been somebody in control who wants to hide the truth from the masses to keep us dumbed down and keep us under control.
Because they take that, what you just said that kind of that faith or whatever, the what you put into something, they don't see it as we were supposed to. They see it as opportunity to put a face and a visual, a living visual.
That's kind of funny.
they will they will to put a visual though to that control, and they grasp it and they say, I want that for myself.
Right.
I want to take that and make it tangible. And then they say, and that's the thing. Religions across the board, I don't inherently disagree with, and I think it's okay actually to disagree with certain things. You can
Mm-hmm.
say, well, whoa, this might put someone in a kind of precarious position. If you truly, what they all, most of them try to convey is, you know, I don't know, just I guess the teachings of Christ, whatever you want to call it, just the figurehead there, whether or not you believe in him or not. The inherent message to me is this life is fleeting. Give what you can to those who need it, and those who
Mm-hmm.
don't, give it yourself. Give
Right.
to the greater good of it. Give to the greater whole. And um, I there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Not at all. What I tend to start, I guess, seeing in people, and it's not I disagree with it. It disappoints me, and it kind of makes me a little bit more nervous than anything out in the woods. The man-made construction, the constructs of religion and Christianity, and when people
Mm-hmm.
grasp it for themselves and start saying these are the rules, and it's like, I've had this conversation a couple of times outside of this realm with just friends and some family. If Christ were around today, with how I've seen people acting, I think they'd crucify him worse than they ever did, because they wouldn't recognize, he wouldn't return. I just don't think he's getting, not trying to get too far into, because I'm not. I'm again based more in science, and I just like to kind of respect everybody's beliefs, because I think faith is a personal thing. It's when it becomes not personal that it becomes a problem, when you force it on others. But um, I just don't know that they would welcome him, because he would say, well, no, let's all try to get along and help those that need it, and give our services to this, and we don't need these flashy things. And I think a lot of people would be pissed at that and say, no, you're not going to tell me how to live my life. You're not going to take mine away. Why should I give to someone who doesn't do anything? This and this. And I'm like, I think they put him back up on the cross and bang the nails in harder, because
Yeah.
the man inherently, what I see out there, with a lot of people protesting, or not protesting, but professing, the Christian faith, I'm like, I don't know if he'd agree with all this. I
Mm-hmm.
think he'd be kind of pissed. He'd just probably turn around and say, I'm not doing this shit. I'm leaving again. This is some bullshit. Y'all are not going to get me this time. And just go on his way. Like, because I wouldn't blame him. I wouldn't blame
No,
him. He went through it
absolutely
once.
not.
Why
Right.
would you go through it again?
Right.
And it's like, so that's the thing. It's like, I think faith it's great to have, um, and to live your life under, I guess I'm trying to think, not for, because you're afraid of the consequences of what could happen with your faith, and where what those consequences are after this mortal life is over. But more so live it because that's the way you're supposed to live your moral life. Not so much afraid of consequences, but afraid you don't, maybe you didn't do enough, maybe you weren't good enough to people, and I don't know, I just think people kind of perverted. See, there you go. Yeah, adjusted my hero book. Yeah, I was reading her comment, but it's like, I just think people have kind of perverted it a little bit, and
Oh yeah.
it's not exactly where it's supposed to be. And it's kind of like, that's where you lose me. And you know, that's why I can't put myself into it, because I'm like, it's not so much the inherent teachings, it's how you guys are using it. It kind of makes me a little bit nervous
Right.
when I start looking at it. It's like, and that's fine. I mean, that's again, what I just did was a generalization as well. Not everyone's like that. It's just I think a lot of the people that are in power and at the top get a little bit like that because they get that taste of it. They get that God complex, almost like, well, he's not around. I am his vessel. You guys got to listen to me, okay? And yeah, I'm allowed to have all this stuff. And it's like,
right.
No, but okay.
Well, my personal faith, I've always believed in the Holy Trinity to a point. The Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and then I took to heart the scripture when it said that He that is in you is greater than he that is in the world, and using discernment. I took it upon myself that whenever I read scripture, I would make sure I thought about it and I prayed about it, and I left it in the higher power's hands to just lead me in the right direction and how I interpreted what I was reading. Now, with this in layman's terms, it led me to decipher what was truth and what was fiction, more or less. I believe the Bible is divinely inspired, but corrupted by man.
So that's damn, very well put. That was succinctly summarizes what I was saying in a very long-winded format.
It's just like Ray said, and that man has gotten a hold of this holy book. Look how. All right, the Dead Sea Scrolls. Why was the book of Enoch excluded? If you read the book of Enoch, he answers so much. Even Jesus talks about Enoch, and he is the only one in the Bible who did not die according to Scripture. He is the one who was called up. He was called up to be with God, and it's his book that tells a whole lot of stuff that we need to know, and it was hidden from us. Why? Control.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's a lot more going on that has to do with the spiritual realm, and these cryptids that are being found all over the earth. Everybody's seeing something, but it's being poo-pooed on. It's being we're being lied to on a daily basis. Having smoke blown up our ass about this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
Think about the UFO thing going on. Their so-called transparency. Their
disclosure.
Their disclosure. Yeah. This nothing we don't already know.
Yeah, it's stuff that's been out.
Right.
It's just bizarre though, because it's like, I will say this: it's the first time I've seen them just kind of say, "Yeah, we don't know what that was with our pilot." It's, oh my God, it's a UFO. Okay, fine. And it's like, oh, what? There's a pandemic though. You guys won't even notice. And it's like,
right.
Thanks for telling us now, man. You could have told us this like, you son of a bitch. You could have told us this like in 2016 at least, or 2015, or 2009. I mean, any time before, man. Like, you guys have been sitting on this forever. And then during the first, Jesus. I don't know. It feels like since 2000, this kind of insanity and craziness happens every 5 years. But I mean, the biggest thing, a pandemic hasn't hit us in 100 years, and it hits, and they're like, "Oh, I guess now we'll tell you guys." And it's like, you knew this all along, you son. It's just like, you suck. And so,
right. Now this statement right here. This statement right here might piss some people off, might piss some viewers off, but I tend to agree with it.
Yeah, I do too.
I've got problems with organized religion as it is. I really do.
Yeah.
But when it comes to organized religion, the one I trust the least is the Catholic faith. It's the Catholic Church. You look and see how much bad has followed it. Everything it's in its wake. They've got more spies than the CIA and KGB combined.
Oh yeah,
they're all out here
centuries. So yeah,
Right. Down to the Templars.
and that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, it's just it's like a lot of what they do goes against the very things that they teach. It's I mean,
Absolutely.
there's a lot of it actually. I mean, I don't understand how they've withstood the scandals and not collapsed. That's what's unnerving to me is how does this stuff come out year after year after year, and your organization doesn't just fold? Anybody, anything else in this world could not have withstood that over the years.
Right.
Nothing else, but they
Right.
still persist, and it's like, why? Because a lot of, I mean, I won't make fun again, but yeah, Catholic. I don't. I've not met any of them that didn't seem to hold more guilt than I did or I do uh, about things, and it's just like, and then you. Even if they haven't done anything, I'm like, why are you just? Why do you feel like this? Is it? And it's because they've been conditioned, and it's like, God, this sounds fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm good. I don't want to go to mass for 7 hours every Sunday. I'm fine. I'll get by. Um, and just all the, like I said, all the stuff that they've, been tangled with, like you said. How they withstood, I don't know, and I almost don't want to know. I think we all do, but it's, it seems like it's just not something that's never going to change.
No.
They'll just keep scapegoating each other. That's the thing. They pick a scapegoat, or they pick somebody that they know. It's like, ah, shit, this guy really, he went too far. We got to throw him something. And so they'll throw one of them, and he's like, oh yeah, cool. He's 92. Okay, it's not like he got away with it for I don't know, his whole life. Thanks for turning him over now, guys. Like it's like, man, and I'm being a little bit hyperbolic there and exaggerative to for I guess my own amusement or comedic whatever, but sometimes it is that though. They're
No, you're
all
right.
older, and it's like, what the like they've been doing this for at least 40 years, man, 50 some. Come on, like this. You guys didn't know? Yeah, you did, man. I mean, I just I grew up with a guy, high school buddy of mine. I mean, we all kind of thought he's weird. So, the group of six of us, and he's always kind of on the outside, and we would be like, don't invite Kenny. He's just fucking weird. And, it ended up paying off because, our police force is just got a lot of issues. But this was one that, before precipitates all of the stuff going on now, was our Explorer program. He was one of the guys, ended up being, who was abusing kids. And, um, embroiled in that whole scandal. And this was someone I had known. I mean, I didn't know him past the age of 18 when we graduated and keep in touch with him. But I had known him, been to his home, knew his parents. All of us did. Uh, and it, that feeling of being something wrong, being off, it was there, but not on that level. So it is sometimes hard, but when you start seeing a pattern within that, you start wondering, you know, like going back to the church, yeah, you don't always see it coming, I guess, in certain aspects, but it's like when you guys have a pattern of this happening, do you guys want to be attached to that then? Do you want to be attached to that establishment? Like, because I'll tell you right now, hell no, I'll all day long. Uh, I mean, there's not a thing I wouldn't have done had I known. I'd have, shit. I
Never.
think all of
I
us would
mean,
have.
I've
But like, it's
always
just,
I've always looked at the Catholic Church as a cult.
yeah. Well, with tax exemption, some of them
With
get that.
tax, yeah.
But,
With tax
and you're right.
exemption.
Uh, and it's like, but it's like I said though, that's one instance in my life. If I had, been a part of an organization or an establishment that this happens in over and over, just knowing that person, I feel icky. Like I'm like, ugh, oh, I hung out with that son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
So if I start looking around, I'm like, oh God, like 3 out of the 7, or whatever, 4 out of the 10 guys I'm worked with or surrounded by for years have been doing this with, having these allegations come out, or just outright, have been accused of it or whatever, have been proven to do it, after a while you have to go, man, the establishment I'm with kind of sucks and it's kind of dirty and it's filthy and I don't want to be a part of this shit because I don't want my name attached to this. No matter how many Hail Marys or whatever confession, I cannot abide this.
Mm-hmm.
And none of us should. Evidently you guys can't control yourselves. I don't care. One, possibly God, just because the world is so screwed up. Yeah, I'm not gonna blame everybody. But man, when it keeps happening, it's kind of everybody's fault in a way because you guys are condoning it. You're saying this is okay, and you're not putting them into the fire enough. You're not kicking them out. You're not stripping them of their duties. You're not turning them over, or even going against them and condemning them and denouncing them and hoping. We need to see them punished, not in the way that our faith does. We need to see them punished via the law, how society sees it. And they just don't do that. They only seem to throw a bone once in a while when it's just too far gone. When that person they feel has compromised the whole, they're like, here you go, take him. And that's what they did here with our police force. They covered it up, and the guy I knew, he's an idiot, kept doing it and screwing him up, screwed him over so much they finally said, you know what, you guys can take him. And he ended up going to prison. So to cover their own ass, just like the church, just take him. We can't contain this any longer. It's now in your hands. And then they hope to look good by that because they're like, look, we did the right thing as soon as we found out. And it's like, no, you didn't. You knew about this a long time. So it's just, that's where, it bothers me because I'm like, I would have immediately turned on him. Yeah. Immediately. Like, I didn't even like you that much. Like, I mean, my own family, I would, if somebody's doing something, and I've told them this about me too, even the closest people to me, I'm saying, if I'm doing something that is harming others, detrimental to others, man, put my ass to the fire and don't let up. Somebody has to. It's not right. And that's just, I wish that we had that accountability, but we don't, sadly. So,
what we got here? Reading some of the chat. Maybe all our teachers were extraterrestrial.
What? What was it? Maybe all? Oh, I was like, I didn't see that pop up right away. Nah, I at least from my experience, teachers I've had, very human, very human, too much so.
Wow, going on 2.5 hours. Wow. It's been a good discussion.
Absolutely, yeah. I was going to say, I'm down to, I don't know what my battery's on. It's like probably 10% at this point, and I don't see my plug-in anywhere.
I'm probably going to wrap this up. It's, no,
it's a good one. It was great.
It was great. This right here is everything what I want the Ravens Outpost to be, especially the Ravens Eye is a big discussion, a sort of round table where we can sit and discuss topics of a paranormal nature, and everything we've discussed tonight, I believe is connected to what's going on in the world today as far as the paranormal goes.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's synchronicities to everything.
Yeah.
It's just about kind of letting yourself be open to them and saying that, just kind of admitting, there's most likely something else going on. I'm a little bit scared, but I'll figure it out. I'll go with
Yeah.
it, because there's what else you gonna do? You're gonna fight the universe. I don't
Right.
think you're gonna win that one. So at least in my experience, you don't. But yeah, I mean, uh, yeah, this has absolutely been, yeah, it's a good one. I'm glad I could be a part of it. Um, Truly, like, it's I'm happy to be on, man. It is awesome.
Yep. Thank you for being on the show.
Oh, absolutely, man. Anytime, anytime. I mean, hell, we didn't even. That's what's funny. Me and you, we can get to talking, man. We just keep on and on and on and on and on, and we don't even really get to the absolute.
Dude,
Like,
I believe we got on the phone one night. We did a
yeah, yeah.
FaceTime. I believe we were on for like 5 hours.
I think it was 3, because we just kept on. I
There's-
mean, it's just like, because again, this stuff can get like, if you get into it and you actually get somebody, you can vibe with on it. Like, yeah, you can go every which way. I mean, it's just one of those things, man. It's always a pleasure. I definitely dig it, and I'm glad to see you doing this. I mean, I think it's a good thing. Definitely a good thing.
it's in its infancy, and I'm hoping it grows.
Oh,
I really do.
I hope to see it grow. It needs to. Absolutely.
That's, yay. All right. Yeah, man. I was only planning on having live streams twice a week, but it all depends on how things are going. I might have them more often. You know, all depends on what's going on.
Yeah.
Like I said, if this does good, I mean, you're more than welcome back anytime.
Oh man, I'll come back anytime you have me.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
Get into hell. There's a lot of fun topics I've got that I think are even more amusing to get into, more out there, and just, I mean, hell, add some humor to it too. I mean, it's all about keeping a good light tone sometimes. Even the most heavy of subjects.
Absolutely.
It's messed up, but the thing that always put us off about that weird friend I told you about that did all that shit. He said the word funning, not funny, funning, like a verb, and we were always like, what the hell does that even mean? And like, it got to a point, because this is back in the days, early days of like AIM messaging, like 20 years ago. We was all like 15, 16, shit like that, I think. And we'd all do through AIM Messenger. And like, so we all chatted on there, and yeah, we all were like, does he say funning to you? And it's like, yeah, he says funning. And I'm like, that's not a verb. That's not a word. That's not a thing. And it's like, God, it's like, don't ever trust anyone that does that, man. Anything like that, they're going to end up. Just don't trust them, I guess. But like, you trust your instincts when you see something weird, I guess.
Hey, Eric, it's good you dropped by, man. I'm glad you and Ray hung out.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys. It was a nice roundtable discussion. It's like I said, that's what the Ravens Eye is all about. It was sharing knowledge, and making each other grow.
Yeah. Enjoying the experience of it all. It's
exactly.
Good.
As like the proverb says, "As iron sharpens iron, so does one man sharpen another," and that's what this is all about.
Very good. Very good.
Make us a little bit wiser, a little bit stronger, and test these theories that we've got. That's what I'm all about. I freely admit I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, and I do have some decent theories, but I need them tested.
Yeah.
I need to bounce them off of other people's cranium to see what they think, and if I can challenge that, and that's what I'm looking for, and share it.
Yeah. I mean, bounce it off like just bounce it off my head like we did in 5th grade dodgeball. It was brutal. I triggered myself just now with that.
Don't cringy. Okay, Ray, you've been wanting it all night. You've been wanting me to say it all night. Cringy ass. Cringy ass. So talking about my first cringy ass video, and so there you go. That's especially for you, Ray.
Request fulfilled.
Oh my God. All right, everybody. It's been great. It's 2:31 in the AM.
Yeah.
And it's time for me to hit the hay.
Yeah.
Look, Buck, it's been great. I'm so glad you stopped by. I'd like to get my nephew on here, and we'd have a discussion with him too. He's got a lot of theories about the paranormal.
That'd be very cool. Oh man, yeah, especially with what he's seen too. I remember that one thing you told me about.
Yeah, he's a skeptic. You know,
yeah.
He's a healthy skeptic. I like to get my niece Brianna on here. She's very insightful, very enthusiastic about this topic.
Nice, you should do it.
Yeah,
sounds good.
Get her on here, and I'm actually talking to Max Powers.
Yeah,
I want to see if I can get him to come on, and we can have a discussion because I'd like to hear what he has to say, and it might be a little late for him. I don't know. We do tend to drop an F-bomb or two on this show. But that's okay. It's okay.
I do think I kept it to the 1.5, maybe. I don't know, maybe 2.
I didn't keep track. I think I might have said 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But
I try to, because man, for 2.5 hours, that's almost, I can't understand it about myself. I'm a little bit shocked. I'm going to say 2 just because I think I have to, because otherwise that doesn't make any sense. So, I mean, my usual way is just,
so it's like this. Yeah, I cuss like a sailor on a normal basis, and sometimes when I let it fly, it just comes right on out, and it's filth, filth, and filth. But I've come to where in public I try to censor myself so much. I think it's where it's just second nature.
I gotta help it now. Yeah.
But from now for posterity tonight,
exactly.
All the lovely people here tonight. Fuck it.
For my sake, at least, thank you.
Yeah. I will say, fuck it. It's been great.
Oh man, at the very end. Oh my God.
Yeah, I had to. I just had to say.
Oh my God. YouTube is gonna they're gonna go all the way to Zuck for this one. I don't even know how he plays it, but he's going.
Maybe. Well, but you know what? I'm telling you what, I'm pissed at them too, because I tell you what, I'm not even monetized. I mean, I've only got 292 subscribers, and I go to watch one of my own videos, and I've got ads on them. I said, are you fucking kidding me? They're running ads on my shows. I'm not even getting anything out of this. There's no revenue. I'm not monetized. No.
Oh my God.
Really?
Yeah, they tend to do that, I think. I don't think they follow the rules of their, they just hope nobody notices. And it's like, wait a minute. And it's like, it's like, oh God, bleed me dry, I guess. Thanks. I don't know. Like, fuckers. Like YouTube has a habit of just, kind of just doing what they want with the content other people create, because it's just kind of like they don't really, that's all they do is host it, which that's cool, I guess, but I don't know. let's let's bleed them dry, bend them over. It's like,
Pretty
man,
much.
come on, what are you getting out of me? I only have 292. Like, what are you doing this to me for? It's like,
Right.
because we can, because we want to.
Basically, and come to find out, they're doing that to everybody.
Yeah.
I
Oh yeah.
mean,
Across the
and they're
board.
doing that to everybody.
A lot of people complain about it, and that's why a lot of people will do their own ads in there because they're like, you're not. I mean, they try to do it outside of them, which I don't know how that works. I don't understand the algorithm. I'm not meant to. I don't.
Right. Well, I'm gonna tell you what, I'm gonna see about upgrading my StreamYard service until I can get the kinks worked out of my new
Okay.
software, and I'll be able to stream on multiple platforms at the same time. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm already on Rumble and BitChute and Gab, but I think it's Rumble and BitChute that I'm going to try and stream to.
Okay.
I might even try and stream the Facebook straight to
Yeah.
the group, straight to the group. So
That work. Yeah. I mean, get out there as much as you can. I feel like. I mean,
yeah,
just because
yeah,
it's what I've always thought. Like if building brands and such, sometimes
hmm
do the kind of get the exposure out there and stuff to do what you want. I'd be terrible at it though because I would do that, and then as soon as I got the number I wanted, I would pull completely back on all that and be like, now I want to. I'm not doing all of this anymore. I did this. I needed. People be like, God damn, man, you're terrible.
Oh yeah, I've been at this for 3 years now.
Yeah.
I've been on YouTube filming for 3 years. Wow, it's crazy. But I'm probably going to have to go back and edit.
Just take out that I said that sounded stupid.
Oh no, I'm talking about the title and the description.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the description I put in the hauntings and the haunted, and we never touched on that at one bit, not one bit. So I've got to go back to that. I think we might have hit on it once
There's a
in
out
the
of
2.5 hours.
I was like, I think there may be like 14 seconds in there. So
We got into cryptids right away.
cryptids Christ and
Yeah, the Catholic Church, and how crazy that mess is. Oh my God. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
But anytime, man, I'll come on with you. I enjoy it, man. I have fun with it. So it's always a pleasure.
I
Always.
appreciate it. Like I said, Ray, Eric, you guys are the greatest. I really appreciate you coming by and sharing a part of this. You're part of the family now. You're part of the Ravens Eye now. Thank you. And John, you too, man. I'm probably gonna be hollering at you if you got some time to hop back on here. Like I said, I'd like to get my nephew on here,
Okay.
and I'd like to get you on here at the same time, and we'd have a big old discussion and see what happens.
I'm down for it.
It'd be great. And maybe we can sit around and discuss what's been going on with your mom's place.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, it's spooky and fascinating, and it's a whole wall of weird.
It really is. Hell, by
Yeah.
the time you shuffle back around, man, I might it might be even weirder having happened over there.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. I'm wanting to have, I don't know. I'm wanting to have a Halloween thing where we just, I don't know. Maybe we'll see what happens. But this has been great. This has been fun. Very therapeutic for me.
Yeah, same.
It's good to talk to somebody who speaks your own language sometimes.
It is. It
Um,
is.
I mean, I'm not one to be, locked up in an echo chamber,
Yeah.
but sometimes I need it.
Yeah. I think like-mindedness is neat. I think I wouldn't think of it as an echo chamber, more just like-mindedness. Um,
Like-minded, yes, that's a better way to put it. Thank you.
I think that's what they all say though. So just
Yeah.
the ends that they have and their objective goals and their agendas. No. um, be able to vibe with somebody, but that's the thing too. Like I'm cool with other opinions and stuff too, and people saying, it's just like I think this, and it's like that could fit into that, but like, oh, I don't know, but like it's I'm cool with that. Like, um, I might not have the same rapport, but it's still like something I'm not at all too fragile to hear by any means. I mean,
Right.
so I mean,
Cool.
I'm
Cool.
whatever, man. But yeah, anytime I'll hop back around. I got plenty of craziness and stuff.
That's kind of what I'm counting on. All right. Uh, Ray, Rick, thank you again for hanging out to uh, to witch an hour,
Yeah.
and we'll see you next week on the Ravens Eye.